Welcome to part 4 of our series, Shook. And today is a special day. Today is a day that we call Good Friday. And we call it Good Friday because it's a day that we look back and we remember what Jesus did for us on the cross. But for Jesus' early disciples, for Jesus' followers, the people who went through life with him, I don't know if this was really a Good Friday. In fact, I think it's probably one of the worst days, if not the worst day of their entire lives. So here's what I want to do today and tomorrow, leading up to Easter on Sunday. I want to walk through this story together. I want to place ourselves in the shoes of the people there. I want us to experience the things that they experienced. And I'll give you a little heads up. Today and tomorrow are not going to be hopeful. They are going to mirror the anxiety and stress and depression that we experience. And when we walk away from these times, we're not going to feel good. Because we're going to walk in line with what the disciples would have been feeling. I promise that when we get to Sunday, it'll be different and it's worth it. But I think it's important for us to experience and understand the magnitude of what they went through. So today, I want to jump into Matthew 27, verse 45. Up until this point, we've seen Jesus come into Jerusalem. We've seen him have the Last Supper with the disciples. We've seen him dragged into court and betrayed. He's been sentenced to death. He's carried a cross on his back into a city. And here we are. We're going to jump in verse 45, and Jesus is on the cross. Verse 45 says, "Now from the 6th hour there was darkness all over the land until the 9th hour." It's a dark day in many senses of the word. And at about the 9th hour, Jesus cried out with a loud voice, saying, "Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani." That is, my God, why have you forsaken me?" And some of the bystanders hearing it said, "This man is calling on Elijah." And one of them ran at once and took a sponge and filled it with sour wine and put it on a reed and gave it to him to drink. But the others said, "Wait, let us see whether Elijah will come to save him." And Jesus cried out again with a loud voice and yielded up his spirit. And with that, Jesus is dead. And it says, "Behold, the curtain of the temple was torn in two, top to bottom. All the earth shook. The rocks were split. The tombs were opened. Many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised. And coming out of the tombs after his resurrection, they went into the holy city and appeared to many. When the centurion and those who were with him, keeping watch over Jesus, saw the earthquake and what took place, they were filled with awe and said, 'Truly, this was the Son of God.'" I don't know what is happening in these verses. I don't know what any of this means, what happened, what is poetic, what is, I don't know. But what I do know is whatever happens, it immediately becomes clear to everyone there that this guy Jesus, who claimed to be the Son of God, who they killed because he claimed to be the Son of God, it became abundantly clear in that moment he was telling the truth. He is God's Son. I'd imagine some of them have a pit in their stomach, like, oh man, we messed up. We were wrong. It says that there were also many women there looking on from a distance who had followed Jesus, who had ministered to him along the way. It says it's Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James and Joseph, and the mother of the sons of Zebedee. And then it continues. It says, when it was evening, there came a rich man from Arimathea named Joseph, who was also a disciple of Jesus. He went to Pilate, one of the leaders, one of the rulers, and asked for the body of Jesus. And then Pilate ordered it be given to him, and Joseph took the body, wrapped it in clean linen shroud, and laid it in his own new tomb, which he had cut in the rock. And he rolled a great stone to the entrance of the tomb and went away. Mary Magdalene and the other Mary were sitting there opposite the tomb. If we put ourselves in this story at this moment, it seems final. Jesus is dead. They watched him die. They saw this otherworldly, this heavenly moment where it becomes abundantly clear that he is who he said he was. There is no doubt about it now. And to make it more final, they put him in a tomb. They roll a huge stone in front of the entrance. And it's final. Jesus is dead. He's wrapped up. And he's laid to rest in his final resting place. I can't imagine it feels good. In fact, I would imagine that Jesus' disciples, the people that are with him, they're devastated. They're anxious about what the future holds. Are people going to come after them because they were with Jesus? They had given up everything to come follow this Jesus guy. What does the future hold? Thoughts running through their head non-stop. I'm sure they didn't sleep well that night, overcome with grief and sadness and anxiety and fear. Good Friday was not a good day for these early followers of Jesus. It's not until much later that we start calling it Good Friday. It's devastating. And I know one thing. I haven't experienced this personally. I've never been in a situation where someone I knew was murdered brutally on a cross for something that they didn't do. But I have experienced anxiety and sleeplessness and fear and all of these things that they must have been feeling. And I know that if I've experienced that on mundane issues in my own life, I can only imagine how much greater these feelings of dread, anxiety, and depression are that they must be feeling. This man that they love, that they had been walking with, that they had devoted their lives to, this man that they had seen do incredible things, this man that is the Son of God, is dead and gone and buried. And that is how their Friday ends.